One of the most dominant narratives about Nigeria's tax base or compliance is that a huge part of the country's working population does not pay taxes. However, data from our survey on taxation in the informal sector challenges this assumption. What the data shows is that Nigerians do indeed pay taxes. However, this happens in an informal way and many times to non-state recognized actors. We also show that in many cases, these taxes are extracted before and irrespective of whether the taxpayer makes any money. In most cases, the payers get little benefit from these non-state collectors and are only constrained to comply with the threat of force or loss. Nigeria has one of the lowest tax to GDP ratios in the world at 6.3%. This is lower than the average of 30 African countries as surveyed by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) in 2018 by 10.2 percentage points. It is also lower than the Latin America and the Caribbean. What this implies is that Nigeria's tax base has been on a steady decline due to growing unemployment rates. The highest tax to GDP ratio in Nigeria was 9.6% in 2011, with the lowest being 5.3% in 2016. A major reason for the low tax to GDP ratio in Nigeria is the large size of its informal economy, estimated by the International Monetary Fund to be around 65% of the GDP, which is higher than the sub-Saharan average of 34%. By comparison, the informal economy in Europe is 23% of its GDP and 17% of the GDP in OECD countries. Despite repeated attempts by tax authorities to tax the informal sector, there has not been much success due to challenges, including the lack of information on businesses in the sector, lack of documentation, and proper regulation. The primary data for this study was obtained through surveys in 9 states across Nigeria, including the federal capital, Abuja, Anambra, Bauchi, Cross River, Delta, Oyo, Kano, Lagos, and Rivers states. Out of a total of 999 workers in the informal sector who were surveyed in these states, 98% paid taxes. 54% earn between 2,100 naira to 5,000 naira a day, while 38% earn 5,000 naira and above. Further analysis shows that bus drivers, open market traders, and Okada riders have more high earners, that is, people who earn 5,100 naira and above, than the other categories of informal businesses. Also, a slim majority in the hairdressing and dressmaking businesses also earn between 5,100 naira and above. The most prevalent payment time frame for the informal sector is daily payment, accounting for 45% of all the payments made. This lends credence to the short tax memory and the inconsiderate ways that defaulters are treated. For most of this sector's participants, each day is a clean slate, and the previous record of tax payments does not count. This also accounts for the inability of the various tax collectors to properly account for the taxes and their uses. 33% of the respondents pay on a yearly basis, 17% pay monthly, while 5% pay on a weekly basis. Daily payments are most prevalent in Lagos, Ibadan, and Calabar. In contrast, payments in Bauchi are overwhelmingly monthly. 63% of workers who pay daily taxes do so once a day, while 19% pay twice a day. 10% of the respondents pay more than 3 times a day, while 8% pay taxes more than 3 times a day. A majority in Abuja, Bauchi, Cross River, Delta, Kano, and Oyo pay taxes once a day. A significant number of respondents in Anambra, Oyo, and Rivers paid taxes twice a day, and a pocket in Cross River and Lagos. Only in Cross River, Lagos, and Rivers do participants pay taxes thrice a day, and a pocket in Delta, Kano, Lagos, and Rivers pay taxes more than 3 times a day. Most, about 58% of the informal sector participants pay taxes to one group, followed by those who pay taxes to 2 groups at 29%, while 9% pay taxes to 3 groups and 4% pay taxes to more than 3 groups. This points to the multiple taxes that informal sector participants pay. The location of the informal sector participant is also a determining factor with regards to the number of groups they pay taxes to. For instance, while the responses show that all participants in Bauchi pay taxes to only one group, there is a significant number of respondents in Delta and Lagos who pay taxes to more than 3 groups. Also, the type of business that a respondent is involved in determines the number of tax collectors they may encounter. Bus drivers are more likely to pay taxes to more than 3 groups than those in the other forms of business, and overall, multiple taxation is recorded across all the business types. There was no business group that had not experienced multiple tax collection by different groups. Who pays the lowest and the highest tax? The majority of people in the dressmaking, 57%, hairdressing, 61%, Okada riding, 66%, and vulcanizing professions, 62%, pay the least taxes, that is between 2,400 naira to 12,000 naira a year. 14% of bus drivers account for the majority of those who pay the highest, about 36,000 naira and above yearly, while 18% also pay between 24,000 naira and 36,000 naira. The findings of this study clearly show that the tax base of Nigeria is much larger than thought, but much of it is in the informal sector and is not captured in any official records at the state or federal level. It reflects the inability of the state to properly project itself, leaving the door open for other actors to come in and secure relevance. When Nigerians are asked why they do not pay taxes, they say it is because they get no services from the government. However, the entities that collect various levies from bus drivers, Okada riders, hairdressers, and vulcanizers do not deliver much in terms of benefits either. It should therefore prompt a rethink of what really ensures higher tax compliance in a state, namely the credible threat of sanctions up to and including violence. This means that the capacity of states and federal governments to enforce tax collection is directly proportional to their ability to enforce penalties for tax default. We are also already seeing this emerge in some parts of the Northwest and Northeast, where armed groups can enforce tax compliance. Our findings also bring into sharp focus the unease of doing business in Nigeria's major cities. The arbitrary and multiple nature of taxes and levies affects all classes of economic actors, including those at the bottom of the pyramid. In their case, it only serves to impoverish these people who do not have the means to secure a better deal from those who collect these taxes. These multiple and arbitrary taxes also have the effect of slowing down their financial gains and reducing their disposable income, which might have benefited other sectors of the economy. We believe that the tax administration regime should be simplified, and unions and non-state actors that place a tax burden on citizens should be checked. Also, the government needs to do a lot to surmount the distrust that citizens have for it by showing people the benefits of tax compliance, which include better infrastructure and service delivery.